What's good, everybody? Checking out new RCWR show. Woo! Dropping Wednesday night of July 7th, 2021. Solid week in wrestling, man. Loads to get into. Well, actually, no, not loads to get into, but there is some heavy hitting joints for this week that definitely you gotta spend some time talking about and all that. So, hey, this installment, we're talking about NXT's Great American Bash. We're also talking about a solid, for the most part, top to bottom, AEW Road Rager Dynamite episode we got this week. Of course, I'm going to sound off for the very first time about the Jimmy Uso arrest. Oh my God. You'll appreciate what I have to say in regards to that for sure. And we do need to issue a apology / retraction. More on that later on. How y'all been, man? Here we are. We're at Wednesday. It's hump week. Weekend for some of us is right around the corner. We just gotta hold on just a little bit longer. Hold on. And that weekend, it is definitely ours. I can't complain. Honestly, I'm fantastic. I took my final exam for one of my classes earlier today, and I was actually disappointed. And some of you guys, you're going to hear this, you're going to have a nice little quiet chuckle, and you're going to be like, Lee, you tripping for no reason, dog, like seriously. But I took my final exam for one of my classes today, and I was so pissed because basically it was 60 questions. I got 50 out of 60 correct. So I was hoping that I was going to get a 57 out of 60, but instead I got 50 out of 60. So I missed 10. So I would assume that probably makes that final exam alone, that probably makes it, if not a B minus, maybe a C plus, something along those lines. Now, here's where it gets interesting. My overall grade for this class that I took the final exam for stands at an A plus. So every single time it came to the homework assignments, any and everything that was asked of me to do, papers and all, I was getting A's, A pluses. Any areas where I could get some extra cred, I definitely was going above and beyond. But the final exam is somewhere between a B minus to a C plus. Again, the overall grade for this class that I got is an A plus. So some of you guys, just let that sink in. You're probably gonna like, why are you tripping? Like, I'm just that nutty when it comes to being perfect. That's all. So yeah, it's weird because that final exam, not for nothing, some of the questions actually repeated themselves. And I actually went back before I hit the final submit button. I actually went back because sometimes it can be, well, no, maybe this was phrased different. No, it was literally, I saw about maybe 5 questions that repeated themselves, word for word, option for option. And it was, what the hell? And I was like, okay, well, you're going to keep doing this. It's going to be an easy ass grade. So I don't know if maybe something weird had went down where, actually, you understand what I'm saying? Maybe from a technical standpoint, because the exam was loaded up into the blackboard. Maybe it was a case of, no, that might have been what you saw at your end, but maybe it was actually coded differently and what the professor is actually seeing at her respected end. So I ain't tripping. All I know is I got an A plus for that class overall. I'm moving along. I'm staying focused on the other classes. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. So can't complain. So yeah, week for me, going off to a pretty damn good start. I got no complaints whatsoever. Hope you guys, again, have been having a enjoyable week so far as well. Man, AEW Dynamite Road Rager episode going off the air. Pretty much a good card throughout. I kind of question on the ending of Dynamite. I'm not really sure if, once again, if it was the wise move to go off with the Young Bucks Me to each its own. I appreciate the Young Bucks taking a lot of the things that's being said about them negatively on social media and doing their best to turn it into a positive in their favor. All in all, to get themselves over even more, irritate the fan base. They know if we got people talking, hey, that's good. Let's keep them talking. Let's give them something to talk about. But man, it just it's becoming so redundant with the Young Bucks and the predictions. It's very redundant, very redundant. The outcomes, just everything that you can expect is just really, really becoming redundant. And I'm just kind of getting to that point where it's, why do I even bother? You feel where I'm coming from? We had a nice foundation that was built up from last week, given the fact that the Young Bucks were given their first tag team defeat in over X amount, couple of 100 days. You're looking at that, you're going, okay, all right, well, this is good. This is something that we can build towards and everything. Let's build this up. Let's really set this up properly and everything. And me personally, I'm not necessarily saying that we should have gotten new AEW tag champions. I'm not saying that by a stretch, so please don't take it that way. But I just can't help but who are the Bucks eventually going to lose these tag titles to? Because the way it's seeming right now, it feels as though for the foreseeable future, Young Bucks are going to have a death clutch, a iron grip on those tag titles. And it just really feels, when you really take a step back and you just look at the landscape of the tag division right now, it just almost comes off as if you are not worthy to hold the hammer. It's literally like that right now. So I don't know. I'd like to get you guys' thoughts about that. If I think the two-part question that we should be asking ourselves right now is, for the foreseeable future in 2021, do we see any legit potential scenario coming about where before the end of 2021, Young Bucks are going to lose those tag titles? And then the second part to that question, if they are going to lose those tag titles, legit, who is that tag team that, yeah, these are the guys, they are the ones that can definitely take them off of the Bucks? That's the two-part challenge question, homework assignment for you guys. So whether you're checking this out live or on demand, I definitely want to know you all's thoughts to that two-part question. So definitely sound off, because I'm most curious what you guys have to say. Me personally, just looking at the current landscape, as far as 2021 goes, I'm just not seeing anybody. I'm just not. And you would just like to hope that it's not politics that's getting in the way of doing some really good business. You feel where I'm coming from? Because not for nothing, there were a couple of times there where months back you said, okay, you know what? If ever a team, okay, yeah, sure, these guys, yeah, good to go. And every single time you turn around, just nope, denied. So, look, the match, though, the main event match with the Young Bucks taking on Eddie Kingston, Penta, pretty solid. I mean, no complaints. No complaints whatsoever about that match. I thought it was pretty damn good. And that was a AEW World Tag Team title match in a street fight. So, I mean, that was pretty solid. Pretty solid tag matchup all around. I'm just starting to kind of get to that point where it's like, with the Bucks. Nothing personal, but it's just, Because seriously, I when I try to offer my critique and criticism, it's never personal. It never is. So, and I think that's kind of helped me really stressing that over the years, because there's been wrestlers that's taken some of the things I've said maybe about them or about the product, and they go on this blocking spree, and I don't know, I guess now they've kind of loosened up. They understand where I'm coming from, and so they kind of, okay, let me unban, So, I mean, that's cool and everything, but that's just how I feel about that. I'm not going to continue to go on and on about the Bucks there. But overall, just putting how I personally feel to the side and everything, and this potential dilemma that's going on, at least with that part of the tag division, good street fight. Good street fight. Let's see. First matchup of the night, a South Beach strap match. Cody Rhodes taking on QT Marshall. I can't put my finger on this one. I really can't. I really can't. First of all, I don't really know what was the point. Given what happened later on in the night, I don't understand what was the point of Cody picking up this win. I really don't, because if anybody could have used this match, look, personally, I don't care for the QT Marshall. I don't care for the QT Marshall stable. It does nothing for me whatsoever. It really doesn't. But I also recognize the fact that QT Marshall, not for nothing, the work that he's been putting into AEW since it came to fruition, whether it's behind the scenes, in front of the camera, that needs to be rewarded and all. Okay, so I'm down with that. And hey, not for nothing, he's decent in the ring. He's a good mid, high utility type of player. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Nothing wrong with that. So keeping all of that in mind, this is actually a rare instance where I'm looking at this particular matchup and going, no, QT Marshall really could have used the dub here to help further him along in his little entourage and try to build a little something off of that. I found the fact that Cody won this match to just be really head scratching, because again, he did not need it. Again, given what happened with Cody later on in the night, because it essentially, if you want to get technical, it essentially negated what Cody did earlier in the night to a certain degree. You feel where I'm coming from? But for me, I don't think it was needed. Also, I can't put my finger on this one, but there was something about this strap match that I did not personally care for. I'm not sure what that's about, but there was something I personally did not care for about this match. I'm being told the Twitch is saying that I'm offline. I'm not showing any issues with Twitch whatsoever. I'm showing that Twitch is connected and there's no issues with Twitch whatsoever. Friendly reminder to you guys, we're streaming through Periscope/Twitter. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Facebook. So, and as far as I can tell, we are streaming live on Twitch as well. If anybody is having any issues with any one of those platforms, please try going to the other platform for that next option, right? But getting back to Cody there, that strap match with QT Marshall. I don't know what it was about this strap match, but I could not get into this strap match. I just couldn't. And realistically, I am taking a step back. And this was literally how I was feeling as I was watching this match play out before my eyes. Boredom. Boredom is what I had. While also asking the question, what the hell is really the point of this match? Seriously, why are we getting this? And at that point, I tried to be as objective as possible and really take a step back and say, okay, well, the history and storyline between these two men, surely that's enough to, in storyline, build upon and not quite, no. And I think what really was the buzzkill is the fact that we didn't see a scenario come about where Cody Rhodes has been so active on TV these past couple of weeks. And once again, congrats to Cody Rhodes, him and Brandy. Welcome the birth of their child. I know they got the whole photo spread and all going on in the People magazine. By the way, you knew it was just going to be a matter of time. You knew that some people were going to have a field day and they were going to be posting memes and all kinds of stuff. And look, legit, some of the stuff that's out there is funny. But at the same time, there's also some stuff that was posted that is, in my honest opinion, below the belt. Ooh, poor taste. Poor taste. I'm down with a funny ass joke as much as the next person, but when we're taking it below the belt and we're trying to go the race route and we're mixing that in with politics and we're also taking shots at the baby, like literally there were people that were making fun of the baby. I'm going, God damn. That's why I don't really say as much as I used to on social media. And you know what? Mad shout out to YouTube, by the way, because YouTube particularly, and I'll probably utilize it from time to time. YouTube did a phenomenal little makeover. Not to be long-winded about it, but this is actually really cool what they did. So YouTube now gives us content creators the ability to set up our channels in a way where whenever we go live, we have the option of we only want to hear from those who are subscribed to our channel. We don't want to see any comments coming in from non-subscribers. So I think that's actually pretty damn cool because it essentially forces those that keep checking out your content on a regular basis, and they're interacting. This now pretty much puts them in a position where if they want to feel like they're part of the show, they want to feel like they're part of the engagement. Now it's really putting them in a position where, okay, you want that interaction, subscribe. I like that. And then it also puts you in a really cool position where less off the shoulders of one that has to do everything. Such as monitoring the chat, paying attention to internet bandwidth, connections for the streams, also paying attention to the news feed, anything that's trickling in live during the show, paying attention to the social media platforms, all of that. So I think that's kind of really groovy that YouTube had did that. Now if you're asking me straight up, if that's something that I would implement in the near future, then definitely I would implement that in the near future without a shadow of a doubt. Because I mean, not for nothing, and a lot of people have this biggest misconception about the channel, which is, oh, we're live on this platform and blah blah. No. Like YouTube could end tomorrow. And we will be just fine because we originally started off on radio and we are still syndicating on the platforms, where we initially started and everything. And, I don't care how many people tune in to the initial web stream when we're live. We're really popular when it comes to being on demand and on the downloads. That's where we're most popular. To the point of that one guy that was bringing up the questions that he was bringing up in the chat and everything, just being a little troll, trying to cause a little bit of ruckus or whatever like that. I mean, understand something. In 2021, we've got so many podcasters that's out there that's talking about wrestling, that's talking about, and you know what? That doesn't bother me whatsoever. It doesn't. People are going to pick and choose who they want to check out live, and they're gonna, okay, you know what, I'll actually come back to this one, a little bit later on, and I'm actually okay with that. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. And I mean, I hate to suck my own dick. That's the last thing I want to do. But if I was to leave from 15 years ago, seeing comments like that one guy that posted in the chat just now, oh, I would have had a field day. I would have fucking ate his ass for breakfast. I would have just chewed him the fuck out. And I'd have spent like 15 minutes just cutting him up. Honestly, I would have spent 15 minutes cutting him up. But it's like I'm at a place in my life right now where it's so full of positivity. Seriously, it's so full of positivity. And it's like, you know, the biggest piece of positivity that's going on right now, we talked about this on the Monday show. But just to reiterate it again, your man is going to be hosting a panel at AwesomeCon coming up in August. There's going to be some special guests that are going to be there. This is my first time ever hosting a panel. I'm not nervous. I'm not. I'm not nervous in any type of way. And I think I'm not nervous in any type of way because I've spent the past 3 years covering AwesomeCon as part of the press media. So I think with that yearly rapport, and then the AwesomeCon people knowing I'm good people, yeah, I'm truly like I'm on cloud nine right now, man, and I can't wait to make the announcement of the guests that we got that's going to be part of that panel because you guys are going to be pretty excited, and I can't stress it enough. Those of you that's going to be in the DC metropolitan area coming up August 20th through the 22nd, you definitely want to make sure you come on over to AwesomeCon because that Friday, August 20th, is when my panel will be going down. And I got the times mixed up. I told you guys on Monday that it was going to go from 12 p.m. until 2:45 p.m. Eastern. Totally messed that up. It's actually from 12:45 p.m. until 2:15. So you're talking about 90 minutes. 90 minutes for that panel. So I'm pretty damn excited about that. So again, whether it's you or you know somebody that's going to be in the metropolitan area coming up, make sure you pass along that information. Even if money is maybe a little bit tight for you guys, you can't do all of those days of AwesomeCon because it's pretty much going to be for 3 days. If there was one day, I would say, go out of your way and check out. I would say definitely that Friday, just for the special guests alone that I'm going to be having with that panel. And I'm trying to see if I can add a couple of more people to that panel. I know one person I kind of owe a favor to. So I'm going to, because they looked out for me. So I'm trying to see if maybe I can try to pay it forward and be nice to them. But that strap match, going back to that strap match, I just couldn't get into it, y'all. I tried really hard. I could not get into that panel for nothing. Maybe if there was better build up for it, and we didn't have, even though it was a short period of time of Cody taking the break there, maybe if perfect scenario, yeah, sure, no problem. Maybe I could have gotten into it a little bit more, but there's something about it that just rubbed me the wrong way. But to each its own. Cody picking up the dub. Those guys went about maybe, I would say 10, 11, possibly 12 minutes. Get some footage from Sean Spears chatting it up from earlier in the day. He's talking about the second greatest chair shot that he let out in AEW from last week. And, he's just talking a big old hot game, loving what he had said and everything. And the next thing you know, in comes a flying chair to his face. And it came from one Sammy Guevara. Sammy comes into the frame and says, "Gotcha, bitch." And he tells him this is far from over. I thought that was hilarious. I love that. That actually had me busting up laughing, and that made up for the strap match as far as I was concerned. That for me was the antidote that I needed. Because I'm looking at the beginning and I'm going, and then once I get to the Sammy Guevara spot, I'm just cheesing like a mofo. So I'm telling you, man, seeing Sammy Guevara hit my man Sean Spears with the steel chair, that reminded me so much of when I was in high school. And this isn't long-winded, so I don't want you guys going, "Oh, fuck, no, it's not long-winded." But it reminded me so much of when I was in high school. I used to take cold-cut sandwiches that would be made, and I would, whether it be from home or it be from the cafeteria, I would take these cold-cut sandwiches, and I would slap my friend in the face with them. And I'd go hauling ass, and he'd be chasing me all around the fucking school, trying to beat my ass. Oh, good times, man. Good times. So just, it's stuff like that when I see Sammy throwing the chair there in the face of Shawn Spears. It's stuff like that that taps into that youthful, juvenile side. I had so many years ago. Loved it. Good shit right there. That is a good plus. All joking aside, that is a pretty good feud that's been building up so far between Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara. And let's not forget, for the longest time in AEW, Shawn Spears was eating a big old plate of shit. Remember that for a second, because when Shawn Spears first came into AEW, remember the name he was making for himself on the independents, and man, I mean, he was winning folks over every promotion he was working for, every match he was doing. And when it was announced that he was coming on over to AEW, same fans that were following his stuff on the independents, pretty damn excited about what all he was doing, and felt that, okay, yeah, man, if the future is ever so bright, as far as looking at a future AEW World Heavyweight Champion, fucking A, Shawn Spears. He's the man. He's the one that's gonna fucking get it done. And then you just saw this trajectory that just nosedive into the ground in AEW there. And you just were left, man. Remember that? There's a point in time where fans were going, man, he just would have done better staying on the independents, not even touching AEW, because obviously they don't really know what to do with him. At least on the independents, he had more control of his narrative and all that. So to see him kind of rise from that plane of obscurity, so to speak, and see where he is right now. Sammy Guevara, Shawn Spears have really been complimenting the hell out of each other these past couple of weeks. And I love what's going on. This is a feud that, honestly, of all the feuds that's been going on in AEW, this is actually one where I'm going, you know what? Kudos to AEW booking. They're doing this right, and the build-up, it's been great so far. I love where everything has been going and has been coming along with these guys. Good shit. Meanwhile, and by the way, we're going to talk all about Aleister Black in a hot second, okay? We're going to talk all about Aleister Black, all right? We're just burning through this. That's all. We're just burning through this. All right, up next, we got Tony Schiavone, who's in the ring. He's interviewing Kenny Omega. Don Callis is with Kenny. Pretty much we got rinse repeat from last week, but now we've got Don Callis back. And Don Callis talks about how he wasn't able to be with Omega from last week. Crowd started chanting, "You were fired." So, okay, so this is a crowd that also watches Impact Wrestling. Okay, cool. All right, nice. I won't say a majority of the crowd, but a decent amount of the crowd most likely checks out Impact, at least from that crowd, so they know what's going on. Okay, cool. Love that. Don Callis with a peculiar line, it sounds pretty cool, but then you got to really stop and think about it. He goes, real men don't quit. Real men get fired. And that pretty much silenced the crowd. Now, I don't know about you, but when you first hear that, you go, ooh. But then when you really think about it, wait a minute. Real men don't quit. They get fired. Real men don't quit. They get fired. Real men don't quit. They get fired. It's like, okay, so would I rather quit or would I rather get fired? Well, I guess that really depends on what exactly you're doing at your job, right? I mean, if you quit, you typically have reached a breaking point with that job, right? So you kind of have to think like that. You normally reach a breaking point with that job and you're going, yeah, dude, I can't do this shit anymore. I am like so fucking fed up. If you get fired, normally if you get fired, you did something wrong. You did something wrong to get fired. How were you insubordinate? Were you constantly showing up late to work? Were you doing no call, no shows? Were you being rude to customers? Were you talking back to management? So, it sounds really cool though, right? Because it's like you hear the crowd chanting, "You were fired," and he comes right back, "Real men don't quit, real men get fired." And that pretty much shuts up the crowd. I'm sorry, I would have kept right on fucking chanting, "You were fired," and that would have been it for me. But yeah, he played them good. He played them good. And I think it was probably one of those type of deals where once Don Callis said that, because it was kind of witty when you think about it. Once Don says it, now you're pretty much thinking most likely just what I laid out. So now you got to spend those next couple of minutes just, Don Callis is able to continue with his promo. Bravo. That's the whole point. Bravo. Bravo. Good shit right there. So they pretty much reiterated how Kenny Omega has defeated everybody that's been laid out before him. Even Jungle Boy. There's pretty much no one else. All the people he's faced all around the world. It's pretty much it. Fans are chanting for Hangman. Don Callis, Omega, getting ready to make their exit when Evil Uno, Dark Order, comes out yet again. And they are pretty much regurgitating the segment from last week. This point, Gallows, Anderson, they come out, attack Dark Order. They hold up Evil Uno, ready to take the AEW Championship to his dome. Cue up the music of the Hangman Adam Page. He comes in there. He's doing pretty good. He's taking out the Good Brothers. Eventually he comes face to face with Kenny Omega. Omega can't believe that he's standing across from a former tag team partner, a former best friend. He's questioning if Hangman really wants to do this, if he really wants a piece of him, if he really wants a piece of that championship. And they're about to go at it yet again, but Anderson comes in with a little bit of a distraction. Page fights him off. By the time he's able to focus on Omega, Omega has run away. So, that was built up pretty good, following up from what went down last week and everything. But, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, where I'm kind of having a little bit of is, okay, twice is enough for me with regards to Evil Uno, Dark Order. That's enough. Now that we have Hangman Adam Page, who came out this week, that needs to be the end of it as far as Dark Order. If they want to be at ringside and they want to try to help balance out the odds and storyline, I'm actually okay with that. Got no problem with that whatsoever. But going forward, we now need to really cement Hangman Adam Page. That's what we got to do. Because let's think about this for a second. Not to be too long-winded, but let's think about this for a second. Last week, it came off as if the reason why Hangman didn't come out to get in Omega's face was because he was intimidated to a certain degree. This is somebody that honestly he really does not want to face because he has conflicted feelings towards this individual. There is a part of him that still respects, maybe cherishes, appreciates that friendship he used to have with Kenny Omega. He knows that ultimately he was the reason why that tag team union pretty much blew up. So there's a whole lot of conflict that's going on with the Hangman. Great storyline. I mean, when you really stop and think about it, I told you guys off and on, it's great how this has come full circle. But on top of that, remember, I've also pointed out on many shows that this is something I've been wanting to see, and I've been talking about this for months now. So to see what went down with Hangman last week, And Dark Order essentially telling him, you're just afraid that you'll fail. And there's nothing wrong with failing. If you fail, it's okay. You just dust yourself off and you try again. Remember? That's what you always tell us. So now that we've seen Hangman in this position where, okay, harm has now come to my friends in the Dark Order, but I'm coming out here to draw the line in the sand. You ain't doing that shit to my boys, not on my watch. Okay, now that we've pretty much cemented that, now we need going forward to establish Hangman Adam Page and answer the question, will he or won't he challenge Kenny Omega for that AEW World Championship? That's what we need to solidify going forward now. We don't need to continue to see the Dark Order out there fighting the Hangman's battles. I think they serve their purpose. Twice is enough. Now let's really put the spotlight on Hangman. You got so much substance that's there. So much. And I tell you what, if you really want to further it along between Omega and Hangman Adam Page, and you kind of want to stretch this out a little bit, I think one of the coolest things you could do at this point is have good old JR do a one-on-one interview with the Hangman, and you can put a nice pretty little ribbon around everything that's been going on between Hangman and Omega, and end it with JR saying to Hangman, so will you or won't you challenge for the AEW World Championship? If everything we've seen and everything we've talked about here today, will you or won't you challenge for the AEW World Championship? I think it's a question that the world wants to know. I think if you do it like that, yeah, and then pretty much bring it back a week later, have JR interviewing Hangman, have him interviewing Kenny Omega, get his rebuttal basically. Just that's how you can do it now. That's how you honestly should build it up. At this point, I personally, it was me. Personally, I would not have Omega and Page in the same ring again. I would not have them in the same ring again until there was some type of a contract signing, and then pretty much go from there. Just my 2 cents from a distance. I mean, we may differ on that one, but that's my 2 cents. That's how I pretty much would set that up. Let me know what you guys think. Also, while we're talking about JR and good segments, you know what? Mad props to the interview segment that Jim Ross had there with Ethan Page and Darby Allin. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. That was fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. Ethan Page has really been cranking it up a level. He has really been taking his game to that next level. And I just continue to be marveled at what he has been doing creatively. I mean, he has really, I can't stress it enough, he has really, really been making a promotion like Impact Wrestling eat a big old piece of humbled pie. I'm telling you, the way he has been just hitting those promos of his out of the park as of late. This dude is validating my point about, this is your world heavyweight champion right here. This is world heavyweight champion material. I saw it of this guy when he was in Impact, and for whatever respected reason, Impact didn't want to go in that respected route. I just head scratching. I just thought that was so goddamn head scratching. But this was a great interview segment between Ethan Page, Darby Allin, with Jim Ross as the moderator. Jim Ross trying to get down to the heart of the matter, why there's so much animosity between these two men and how it got to this point where we got this coffin match that's going to be coming up. What it is. Why does Ethan Page hate Darby Allin so much that he wants to cause beyond physical harm, but pretty much try to cripple this man, essentially take away his livelihood and all that. And I like how Darby Allin got the ball rolling, pretty much saying, hey, his first year involved in pro wrestling, Darby Allin, that is. He's talking about himself. His first year of breakout success in pro wrestling was Ethan Page's 12th year in the business, and that's pretty much eaten up Page at his core. So there's that sense of jealousy. But as far as Darby is concerned, he's made the sacrifices. He's done everything to get himself in the position that he's in right now. And Ethan Page flips it right back. Yeah, everything that you said is true. You're making money and all that right now because of me, because of the foundation that I laid out for punks like you. Did you jump the line? You bet your sweet ass you had jumped the line. So I love how Ethan Page pretty much was talking about how it's been driving him crazy to see guys like Darby Allin, with his stunt wrestling and all that, pretty much eclipse him and all. So good back and forth between both men. There was no brawling in any type of way. Good shit. Good shit. JR closing it out saying, man, got an uneasy feeling about this. I don't know, man. Something just, and Ethan Page is like, yeah, it's cool. You should feel that way. Yeah. So good shit. Good shit right there. Second matchup of the night, FTR, Wardlow versus Santana, Ortiz, Jake Hager. So pretty much Pinnacle going over. Good win for the bad guys. Not for nothing, but for a tag match and the fact that we have seen some form of the Pinnacle and Inner Circle going at it week after week, I gotta say this was actually pretty decent. I will say it was pretty decent. If I had one bone to pick, I really wish that we didn't have Conan out there. We really should have sold the hell out of that a lot more. I mean, the history of Conan and his health problems from over the years, the kidney transplant, just everything. I mean, it is just hip replacement surgery. I mean, it's just endless what's been going on with Conan. So remember the last time we saw him, he got a freaking spike pile driver in the middle of the ring. So if there was ever an opportunity to really, okay, let's have Conan off TV for a couple of weeks to really sell this, and then when we do bring him back, we'll pretty much have him in a wheelchair. AEW, they missed a golden opportunity right here as far as I was concerned, because to see Conan come out not selling anything worth a damn. I mean, not even a damn neck brace. If I missed the neck brace, you guys let me know. But for him to not even have a neck brace on, that for me was just total freaking buzzkill right there. He really should have been not on TV for a couple of weeks. But putting that to the side, it is what it is. Good tag match for what it was worth. MJF, Chris Jericho, contract signing. MJF puts these ridiculous stipulations out there telling Jericho, hey, if you want to have your match with me, you pretty much in a nutshell, he's got to get through four guys of MJF's choosing. And then once he's able to get past those, actually, no, five labors. So 5 guys, essentially, if I remember it right. Jericho's going to have to win those matches back to back. And there's going to be different stipulations for each of those matches. And the 5th stip, it's coming back to me now. The 5th stip will be Jericho taking on MJF one more time. And if MJF beats him for a 3rd time, hopefully then Jericho will understand truly that MJF is better than him, and he knows it. So Jericho accepting the what's the right word I'm looking for? The proposal, but it wouldn't be official until, per MJF, they shook hands. because that's the New York, Long Island thing to do. So they shook hands, but Jericho used that opportunity to take a cheap shot at MJF, laid him out. That pretty much was the end of that. So, so basically, Chris Jericho is going to have to go through some type of a gauntlet when it's all said and done. He's going to have to run through a gauntlet. I mean, it's safe to say he's going to get through that, right? But what type of match exactly is my question that MJF and Jericho are going to have? Because I don't think it's as clear cut as what MJF laid out. And remember how Jericho was so quick to sign the paperwork and everything. I think there's a lot more to this story. I personally feel that Jericho, he's going to get through those other matches. And he's going to get that match with MJF. But I just feel that there's going to be some type of stipulation that's out there that Jericho did not consider, that MJF was able to come off with, on the fly or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if everything kind of goes back to the language in the contract signing there. Remember, and not for nothing, AEW, they actually might have hinted towards what that stip could be, because at one point when MJF and Jericho were going back and forth, by the way, I think that was a nice little spot where Jericho says something along the lines of, name your stipulation, whatever it is, I'll do it. And one of the things Jericho says is, I'll sleep with your mom. And the crowd starts erupted. And then witty ass Jericho comes in about 30 seconds later and he just goes, again? And the crowd just popped. Good shit right there. I love that. Good shit right there. But no, when they were going back and forth, Jericho, in agreeing to the terms, he said something along the lines of, hey, if the stip is, I can't beat your ass, maybe I just need to leave pro wrestling altogether. Maybe I need to be done with AEW. He said something along the lines of, maybe I just need to be done with AEW. Maybe I'll be gone from AEW. And that made MJF raise an eyebrow. So I can't help but wonder if after Jericho gets through those other pillars, then when it comes to MJF lets him know, hey, you got this ball rolling a couple of weeks back with that contract signing. Just so you know, you lose this match to me, you're done in AEW. And with that, maybe set up Jericho to do more outside work. We know he's been trying to do some more stuff with New Japan. So is it possible that Jericho could be getting ready to have that exit for a couple of months? Not to mention Fozzy as well. Fozzy's been making new music and all that. And remember, the same time last year, Jericho was actually supposed to go do some stuff with Fozzy and basically support the new album, but it didn't really explode the way it was supposed to explode because of the global pandemic and everything. So is now, and if you've been keeping tabs of Jericho and Fozzy, they got some dates that's lined up and all that. So they've already done a couple of shows so far, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. So do you maybe Jericho gets ready to exit AEW for a little bit, does a little bit of touring with Fozzy, works a little something with New Japan, comes back in a couple of months? I need you guys to think like that, because that could be what's in store for the foreseeable future. I have to wait and see how that plays out. Matt Sydal taking on the in-ring debuting Andrade El Idolo. Okay, not bad. I guess some people, when it comes to these debut matches and usually the squash matches and all of that, but you know what? I'll give AEW a lot of credit, at least with regards to their debuting wrestlers. They try to do their best to, okay, now we ain't going to give you no 90-second. We want you to get out there and we want you to have fun, let loose. So the fact that Matt Sydal went into this match, both men actually, Andrade and Seidel. They complemented each other pretty damn well in this one, I would have to say, for what it was worth. You know, good, solid in-ring debut. Crowd cheered at a couple of spots there that Andrade did. Look, me personally, I really, liked it when Andrade had Zelina Vega. I really did. I thought that 1-2 punch, they complemented each other extremely well. I felt that incarnation, that union, I felt that could go to the very top of the WWE with Andrade having one of those World Heavyweight Championships. That's just how I honestly felt. And for whatever respected reason, we went in a different direction. You know, splitting them up and all of that. We put in there Pepe Le Pew Garza, and, you know, we saw pretty much how that ended. So now we've got Andrade with Vicky Guerrero. Okay. Not too shabby. I'm all right with that. But I don't know. Look, it's still very, very early. Very early in Andrade's AEW career. Still very early. But I'm most curious to know, just if I could look into a crystal ball 6 months from now, where's Andrade going to be exactly on that card? I mean, you know, are we looking at a future TNT champion here? What exactly are we talking about here? So, but there was a couple of spots in the match that had the crowd reacting very positive for Andrade, but the reaction was, I'll have to play it back, but from what I remember, it was kind of one of those, it wasn't a case where it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop, but kind of seeing there was more reaction for Seidel for sure than there was for Andrade. So I don't know, but that's just where I am on that one. I'm curious what you guys think about Andrade's debut tonight, and where you see things going with him in the next 90 days, 6 months. I'm very, very curious. So sound off about that, because I'm very interested in knowing what you guys think. Tony Schiavone, after a commercial break, is in the ring chatting it up with Arn Anderson. Arn's putting over the Miami crowd, talking about how good of a crowd they are and everything, and they give him a little bit of appreciation back. Lights go out. Lights are off for a good minute. Lights come back on, and it is Aleister Black, the former WWE superstar. Aleister Black, wearing all black. He is the man in black after all, and I love the fact that Aleister Black is keeping up with consistency, even if he was in a different universe. And what I mean by that is, you look at his right eye, and he's got this badass makeup that's going on, a little bit of damage and all of that's going on, paying homage essentially to the feud that he had going on there with Buddy Murphy, and Buddy Murphy kind of essentially taking out his eye or whatever. I love the fact that he was paying homage to that alternate universe there with the damaged eye. But yeah, Black Mass to Arn Anderson. Arn sold the hell out of that. Cody Rhodes enters the ring, comes in there trying to do his best to protect Arn, looking on at Aleister Black, Tommy End, wondering what the hell, why did he do that? What the hell is going on? And it looks as though Tommy End is getting ready to make his exit. Cody's got his guard down as he's trying to check in on Arn Anderson. Next thing you know, wham, lays out freaking Cody. Oh, good shit. Good shit right there. You got JR and Tony Schiavone. No, actually, no. Tony Schiavone wasn't back just yet on the commentating. Not that I remember. So it was just Excalibur and Jim Ross. I remember it was Jim. He said something about Tommy N. Whatever. I guess that's what he's calling himself these days or whatever. And you had Excalibur jump in there and he said, no, Jim. His name is Malakai Black. That's what he's calling himself now. Yeah, Malakai Black. Kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. Malakai Black. You know, when I hear a name like that, the first thing that comes into mind is something dark, magical, dark magic, something that's supernatural. What else? Something that's potentially universal there, spiritual. So I kind of like that name actually. I think that name is pretty solid. It's better than just saying Tommy N. And I mean, look, not for nothing, but it was awesome hearing the AEW fans, because obviously they weren't really sure what to call him, so they just called him Tommy N. So it was nice hearing them chant Tommy, 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 and to see him legit smile and react to the crowd, open his hands out in nice little extension there, and letting them know he appreciates the love and all that. Good shit right there. Of course, Tommy N, he was a victim. Aleister Black, he was a victim of the budget cuts that went down in June. It was June when he was released and everything. Remember what he was saying on Twitch? He had put WWE over. He put the writers over. You guys remember that? He put the writers over, saying, hey, no, the fans, they have different feelings towards the WWE writers, but I'm here to tell you, please don't throw any shade their way. They are a good, hardworking bunch of individuals, and they are not to blame. I mean, he really kept it classy on his way out the door. And even in some of the interviews that he gave, he never let up. And you could make the argument he pretty much did it the way he did it because he wanted to ensure, hey, the world is small. And you know what? I have that same mentality. I do. If there was an employer that I worked for and I'm essentially leaving them because I've just reached a point where I've outgrown them, I just want better for myself, then yeah, I have respectfully put in that 2-week notice. I've put in that 2-week notice and I've moved on, and I have that connection that's there. I may not go to that old place. I may not talk to the people that were there when I was there. I may not have any communications with them anymore, but I don't burn that fucking bridge because the world is small. I may need a really good reference. I may somehow maybe need to come back to that line of work for whatever respected reason. So for me personally, and I hope you guys are kind of like that as well, especially the younger folks out there. You don't want to burn bridges. I tell young folks all the time, especially those that's maybe in their junior, sophomore year in high school, or those that's getting ready to go into their first year in college and all that. I always say to them, hey, know you're trying to save up that money and have your shit ready for your textbooks and all of that shit, but hey, don't burn a bridge. If you don't like working where you're working, like, don't burn the bridge. You're gonna go through a lot of jobs in your young life before you find your true calling and all, but if you can help it, don't burn a bridge, because that catches up. You guys know what I'm talking about. You older folks, you know what I'm talking about. You do enough of those quitting and all of that shit, you're gonna have a tough time explaining the gaps there. Okay, so what was going on with you for 4 years here? Looks like 4 years and not working, or some stupid shit like that. So, kudos to WWE for allowing Tommy N to the contract, because this was June they let him go. So I can't help but wonder, and I guess I got to go back and check out that Twitch stream of his to find out the information. I've only seen a couple of transcripts of the interviews and all that, but I don't remember the subject coming about of whether or not he had a 90-day non-compete clause. I can't remember if that was in effect for him, because you would think by default, okay, well, if he got let go in June, then September is at the earliest is when he can go work for another promotion. But remember that report that was floating around by Meltzer and a few others off and on a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about how certain people in WWE that were let go in June were allowed to get out of that 90-day non-compete clause. Some were. And then it became a question of, okay, well, who exactly was able to work their way out of that and pretty much go, look, if it turns out Tommy End was one of those people, mad props to WWE. Mad props. And you know what? Not for nothing, but if in fact Tommy End was one of those guys that was able to get out of that little compete clause, that really, you really got to thank WWE in that rare case for doing the right thing there, because after all, we're still in a pandemic. People got to keep that cash flow going and everything best way that they can, humanly possible and all that. I think that's cool. That's a nice little classy move on their part, because you don't normally hear WWE just, okay, you're out. Yeah, go ahead. You don't want no 90-day? Okay, yeah, no problem. So the fact that they loosened it up there, that's crazy. Here we are, June, he gets released, and here we are pretty much kicking off July, and Black is in AEW now. I expect nothing but badass cool things to happen. I think his AEW debut is off to a great start. And you know what? Let me see about the one comment that was in the chat here about Black. With regards to the debut in AEW DC, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a hell of a fucking surprise, quite honestly, because it's interesting because I was in a couple of forums, definitely hanging out in the Discord and everything, and I remember chatting it up with folks about Black, and we were just shooting this shit. Okay, what promotions could we see this guy come to? And the three top promotions that kept popping up for us was AEW, just no particular order. AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact. Those were the main three I saw that kept popping up. And then for me personally, my top two, New Japan, but I also felt that New Japan would be a long shot because, that's Japan. And there's no telling how far along him and Zelina have gotten themselves situated here in the US, and that could be very, very taxing doing a long distance relationship, people. Heaven forbid you fall head over heels with someone that, it's one thing if they're in a neighboring state. But when we're talking about, way across the pond, oof, that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. So New Japan for me was a long shot. My number two was AEW, and then my number three, considering they're about to ink out a new deal, rumblings are maybe they might be doing something with Discovery Communications, MLW. Those were the ones that I was looking at. Those were the promotions that I was looking at. So the fact that he's ended up in AEW, that's badass. I even remember coming up with an idea of, well, what if Aleister Black would become the new leader of the Dark Order, essentially taking Brody Lee's place? And a lot of people had said to me, nah, man, that's a pretty bad idea. Nah, man, that idea fucking sucks. You don't want to go in that direction. But the more, people had thought about it, they were like, could work, but it's honestly not needed. Somebody like him, no, he should just fly solo. Let him be a solo act. He's more badass as a solo act. This is a great acquisition by AEW. It sincerely is, because I was here on this show weeks back. I remember when I first reacted to the news of his release. I said to you guys, I said, of all the releases, this is the most stunning, the most surprising, because this guy, they'd have done him right. He could have been your next CM Punk, so to speak. I mean, just if you really kind of take a step back, you see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just a cosmetic thing either. It's just the whole attitude, the whole unorthodox style that he has in the ring. There's just a lot with that guy. You just go, yeah, man, this had a future's bright for this fucking guy. So the fact that he got released out of 2021, the most surprising releases for sure him. But what's WWE's loss is AEW's gain. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Cody. Look, he's in good hands. He's in great hands, because if anybody is going to do a phenomenal job in really putting him on that pedestal and just really skyrocketing him and all that, Cody can, but at the same time, we got to be careful here. We got to be careful here, because we've seen Cody now with a few guys. And look, it's going to happen eventually. Cody and Malakai Black. Malakai Black's got to get that first dub. He's got to get that first dub. I'm okay with there being a rubber band match, but he's got to get that first dub. We got to really set that tone. We got to get him off white hot. But when it comes to out of 3 matches, pretty much who's going to be the overall victor, Malakai Black's got to be the one that needs to go over. Seriously, he's got to be the one, because we've seen a few patterns now there with Cody Rhodes, where he's pretty much got the best of these feuds that he's had with people, and it's pretty much floundered. You feel me? It's like, okay, now you're on your own, and it's just fizzled very, very quickly. Now, I don't see that happening with Malakai Black, but stranger things have happened, my friend. Stranger things have happened. All right, but good shit right there. Good shit right there. What did you guys think? What did you guys think about Aleister Black's, aka Tommy Inn, Malakai Black? What did you think about his AEW debut tonight? Sound off. Let me know. See what else happened on Dynamite tonight. Just try to see what else we got here. So other than that debut, oh yeah, we had the mixed tag team match, the Bunny and the Blade taking on Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy. Honestly, for me, what this match was about, it was mainly showcasing Chris Statlander for me. I really felt it was all about the women and what they could do, but particularly Chris Statlander. And the more and more that I'm seeing of Chris Statlander, the more and more I'm saying to myself, you know what? We might be on to something kind of special here. We might be able to do something kind of cool here down the road with Chris Statlander. Like, I just actually legit, like, look at down the road, weeks from now, I could see something coming about where Chris Statlander is chasing after Britt Baker for AEW Women's Championship. I can see something like that coming about. You guys got to forgive me for a second, because my allergies are really kicking my ass right now, and I got to blow my nose. So give me a quick second here. You're going to hear a couple of seconds of silence here. That feels much better. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So, but yeah, that's how I'm looking at. Speaking of Britt Baker did give a backstage interview. She was with Reba, who's on crutches. They pretty much were reacting to the freak accident that happened with Reba last week and everything. And she called it a conspiracy, and she laid in heavy on Tony Khan. She felt that, hey, not for nothing, but every single time I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, My segments are the highest. I'm bringing in, mad numbers. You guys are making awesome money, and you guys are welcome, but this is how you guys are treating me. You're putting me through this kind of bullshit here. My girl's injured, and Tony, how dare you? We should maybe sue you. And she kind of takes a shot at Tony Khan and WWE as well, where she says something along the lines of, what's next, Tony? Are you maybe gonna ink out some type of a deal with Saudi Arabia? Enjoy that blood money. I was like, God damn, Brit. Good shit. I love that. I just howled out in laughter, looking at that. That was good shit. Good shit right there. See what else? What else happened here? Trying to think. Oh yeah, Dan Lambert. I love Dan Lambert. Awesome. By the way, did you see him on WWE's Most Wanted Treasures? Because if you did, you know how much of a diehard wrestling fan he is. I mean, his title collection alone. He ain't got no replica belts. He's got the actual belts that the men and women actually wore to and from the ring. Hell of a collection he's got. I can't remember the episode offhand, but you need to look that up. He is a diehard wrestling fan. His spot that he had with the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, I looked at that as nothing more than Pete Rose and Kane. That's instantly what it reminded me of. So Lambert went out there, hit a home run as far as I was concerned. Lance Archer coming out, good spot. I got no complaints about that whatsoever. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of Kane and Pete Rose there. And other than that, that was pretty much AEW. We talked about the main event match already for the tag team titles. There's nothing really for me to circle back, double down on in any type of way. If anything, I would say that main event match was, there was really nothing that was special about it. It was a bit messy, a little bit all over the place. My allergies are kicking in again, guys. You got to forgive me. I don't know what it is, man, but I got a lot of trees around here. And this time of the year, summertime and all, the pollen. It is the pollen. I think I got to do a couple of things in this studio going forward. I think one of those things is I'm going to need to get some type of air purifier. And I think I might need to dust in here a little bit more. But bear with me a second. This should be the last time I blow my nose. I should be good from here on out. But my nose is burning and itching. Give me a second here. Okay. I should be good from here on out. Yeah. Messy. Nothing special. Nothing really special about this match. But still, solid way to end the show. I think it really should have ended with Tommy Yen and Cody. That's how you really send people. Because at this point, most people are going, yeah, Young Bucks are gonna win. What else is on? You know they are. I'm very curious to see the quarter-hour ratings, because I'm most curious to see how the Bucks segment does compare to the others. I think that's going to be the telling tale in itself right there. But yeah, I personally would have ended it with Tommy Yen. That's just me. But honestly, solid episode of AEW overall. I'm gonna say for this week, considering everything, ratings and all that, I'm gonna say 854,000 for AEW this week. Anything less than 854,000, I'm looking at going, and you got all the real estate in the world now. We're at this point, sports-wise, NBA Finals. I mean, we got that, Tuesday, Thursday, then Saturday or Sunday or whatever. So, we have really gotten down to the finish line with regards to the NBA action, because Lord knows those many weeks when AEW was doing its thing on a Wednesday, then a Friday, then a Saturday. There was always basketball on. So I would like to believe that now we're at a point where, okay, and not too much is going on sports wise. I know we got the Olympics that's getting ready to start. Now that should be interesting. I'm most curious to see what comes about once the Olympics start, if that might have any impact on AEW whatsoever. But yeah, I'm gonna say 854,000 for AEW this week. So, and I think that's a pretty strong number. Anything that's kind of less than that, I'm looking at sideways, going, "Yo, what's going on?" You guys been enjoying the show so far? Do me a huge favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps out tremendously. Really pushes out our content to the YouTube algorithm team. Lets them know basically, hey, decent amount of people checking this out. They like it. They're recommending it. And it makes the YouTube team recommend it for other folks to be able to discover with ease. So do that. Appreciate that in advance. We're going to talk about NXT. Excuse me. We're going to talk about NXT in just a hot second. I do want to... Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I do want to offer a apology and a retraction to something we had reported on Monday's RCWR show. And just to kind of rewind it back a little bit, and I told you guys, we gotta keep it consistent, we gotta keep it honest, we gotta keep it insightful and all that. So I think you guys will understand where I'm coming from, and at the same time, the steps I'm gonna be taking going forward to really ensure that misinformation isn't being spread. So let's rewind it back. And this is wrestling related, so stay with me. So on Monday's RCWR show, for those of you that didn't check it out yet, we got to a portion of the show where I had shared the news about Terry Funk's health status. And the entire wrestling community, fans, wrestlers themselves, were all coming together and wishing nothing but the very best for Terry Funk, as it was being reported that, well, look, we've always known that physically he's kind of in rough shape, and he's been in a little bit of low spirits since his wife had passed. We all known that. But what really just left Hook out of nowhere and just knocked us dead in our tracks was hearing that Terry Funk was suffering from dementia. And so, you're hearing this, and it was just spreading like wildfire, and you're going, whoa. And the source of this wildfire and everything goes back to Don Morocco. Now, that is a name, and I was chatting it up with folks in the Discord, and they were like, whoa, I ain't heard that name in some years. Like, that guy is still alive? That was like the first thing that a lot of people said. Like, this guy is still alive? It's like, yeah, he's still alive, and he's doing a podcast. He was like, wait, this dude's doing a podcast too? And it's like, yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, everybody's doing a goddamn podcast. It's like, yeah, just about. It's like just about. So on Don Morocco's podcast, his, I don't know if he's a co-host or what, but a guy named Scott Gacy was actually the one that got the ball rolling and said flat out that Terry Funk was suffering from dementia. This had led to Tommy Dreamer speaking very candidly about this. Even Rob Feinstein of RF Video. And look, I know some people feel a particular way in regards to Rob Feinstein, but one thing that without a shadow of doubt, Rob has admitted to many times over the years, he is good friends with Terry Funk. Good friends with Terry Funk. I still remember the one story that Feinstein had shared of Terry Funk, and since it's Terry Funk related, I'll go there. There was one instance where there was a vendor that was trying to do business with Terry Funk. And he reached out to Rob to see if he would be willing to pass along, the contact information. And Rob told him, he said, hey, look, he's not really doing too good right now, health-wise. Letting you know straight up, he may actually say no. I'm willing to give you the info. You just let him know that, I referred you and all, but be prepared. He's probably going to say no. If you were to try to bring him out, you're successful, he really should not be traveling alone. Given his health, he really should not be traveling alone. He really needs to have some type of personal escort. So keep that in mind. And the vendor basically was like, yeah, no problem. So he ends up booking this vendor. He ends up booking Terry Funk. And Rob's like, so he checks in with Terry, and Terry's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's okay. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And long story short, this vendor that basically was trying to bring in Terry Funk, he did not make sure that there was a personal aid, personal guide for Terry. Terry basically traveled to wherever this guy was. He traveled out to him by himself. And there was some other shit that had went down. And long story short, I just remember Rob was extremely pissed. He was extremely pissed about it. But yeah, Tommy Dreamer, Rob, hell, you could even say Mick Foley as well. Those are guys that, if you really want to try to get the 4-on-1 on what's going on, with the Funkster, those are pretty much the guys you should definitely trust and say, okay, I can take this, I can cash it, ain't gonna be no problems whatsoever. But yeah, Tuesday is when all of this shit had really got started, as far as, Terry Funk, he's suffering from dementia. And Tommy Dreamer had provided an update, and he said, and I quote, with social media, things start to take a life of their own. I get a lot of texts about Terry and his health, and I see all these tweets about Terry. The biggest one was the WWE. I talked to Terry on his birthday, which was on June 30th, for about 40 minutes. He was and is sharp as a tack. I'm talking about college for my daughters, the wrestling business where he knows about AEW. He calls it from Dusty's Boys. He knows about Vince and knows about the Peacock Network. He is in assisted living, but he still has his home. He's 77 and his daughters worry because he's alone. Sometimes he's forgetful and had a rough patch with his health. Ever since he moved to assisted living, he's been in better. I don't want to say spirits, but more with it. I haven't spoken to his daughters about his mental health, but as clear as my conversation is, that's my conversation with Terry. And he followed up. He said, I called him yesterday, left him a message. He calls me back, and I start telling him all the stuff. It started on Don Morocco's podcast where he's talking to Scott Casey. I don't know why I said Gacy earlier. I apologize about that. Scott Casey. And apparently they painted him as not being able to put sentences together and having dementia. I told Terry this, and I won't say what he said about Scott Casey, except he's full of shit. Always was. It was perhaps the funniest conversation because now Terry is like, we're going to make money out of this. I'm going out of retirement. Let's do it. I can still draw. I heard the ratings are in the shitter. I hung up. He calls me back and is like, I'm either going to get arrested. I'm thinking of taking off all my clothes, running out in the streets and beating people up. We'll make some money on this somehow. If they think I'm crazy, we'll show them I'm crazy. So by all accounts, Yeah. So, and apparently this Scott Casey dude, he has a bad track record for spreading misinformation when it's all said and done. Um, you know, this is kind of one of those. It's good. It's good that we have this happen from time to time, especially for those of us that are part of the press media, such as myself. Um, all the work that I've done over the years and shit. It on the one hand, it's good that we have incidents like this that occurs because it puts us in a position where we need to constantly remind ourselves, okay, this information that's coming in, where is the source of this information that's putting this out there? Who's the source that's saying XYZ? Okay, this person that's saying XYZ, what is their source? What is their direct connection to said topic? How do they know this information? Are they just assuming? Are they trying to make educated guess? What's going on here? Those are very important steps that need to be addressed. And I'll tell you what was maybe the most biggest travesty of them all when it comes to this information that was put out there is the fact that not one person, nobody in the wrestling media industry, that considers themselves journalists and all that, not one person tried to confirm directly from the source, or at least close friends, family. Nobody. It took someone like Tommy Dreamer to essentially Tommy Dreamer and Rob Feinstein to basically say, hey, these reports that's being put around is bullshit. But even at that, what these men had said initially on social media wasn't even acknowledged. It didn't even pick up steam. It really wasn't until Tommy Dreamer said what he said on a syndicated radio show did it pick up steam, and it pretty much squashed those bad rumors that were being put out there about Terry Funk. So it's interesting that this happened because I definitely look at it, and I look at it as a learning experience, because definitely for me, my promise to you guys, my commitment to you guys is definitely making sure that going forward, anytime some stuff like that goes down, and trust me, I'm going to do my best going forward to do my part in reaching out directly to these sources anytime there's some type of information that's pretty heavy like that. Because let me tell you something, not for nothing, but if Terry Funk wanted to, he could actually sue the Don Morocco podcast, this Scott Casey dude. He could sue them for slander, spreading misinformation. If he wanted to, he could go that route. If I am Don Morocco, and you're new to this whole podcasting game and all that, I definitely would make sure going forward, you are cross-referencing and you are going on record saying, hey, these are the facts, these are the people that we have spoken to, assuming these people are willing to put their names out there, or no, we have direct contact, we've had direct contact with, we've got screenshots, we've got emails. You got to be fucking bulletproof when it comes to your fucking shit and what you're reporting. But yeah, it really made me take a step back to see that last night, right when we were getting ready to go on air, I pretty much, and I don't know when Tommy Dreamer and Rob had put out what they put out, but I didn't see it by the time we were getting ready to do the show. Because had I seen it by the time I was getting ready to go live, I definitely would have right then and there. But definitely going forward, I'm already cautious as it is with the stuff that I want to cover on here that's got you guys talking and kind of want to pick my brain on. But I'm going to be even more cautious going forward, because this is how the spreading of misinformation happens, and it really needs to fucking stop. It really, really does. So definitely, you know, unlike some of these dirt sheets that's out there and everything, I can definitely be a bigger man and apologize for spreading that misinformation that was put out there from the other show. So I'm happy to hear that the Funkster is doing pretty good, you know, because I mean, at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, one thing that was really, really cool is just to see the amount of wrestling fans and just the community overall that still gives a damn about Terry Funk. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty badass. So let's talk NXT. They had their Great American Bash pay-per-view event from Tuesday night. Pretty good card overall. Pretty good card overall, I would have to say. You know, really only one title change. That's it. Just one title change. So, I mean, this card was somewhat predictable when it was all said and done. NXT Tag Team Championship match. MSK taking on Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher. Team of MSK retaining their titles. 15-minute match. Good shit. Loved it. Very well paced all throughout. All four of these guys, they shine big time. You really, really feel the chemistry, the synergy between Ciampa and Thatcher. Great back and forth. Great finish to the match as well. I'm not really feeling the finish though. You know, the just the out of nowhere roll up. That for me, just I wish we could kind of get away from these roll ups. I cannot take all the credit for these goddamn roll ups either. DT is the one that really just, once he plants that bug in your damn ear, man, you just start peeping it out from then on. But it's like, for me personally, I just, you know, on the one hand, you could say, okay, look, there was no shenanigans. There was no bullshit that went down, no controversy when it was all said and done, you know, cleanly in the middle of the ring. Yeah, but the goddamn roll up, dude. Come on, man. You know, come on, man. The goddamn roll up. We get the battery at 90%. So you're going, okay, so who's it going to be? Let me tell you something. To see that the battery, little graphic stuff, belonged to none other than Tegan Knox. So many people were under the impression the battery is Finn Balor. He's been taking a break. He's recharging his batteries. Everybody was just, everywhere I saw on social media, everybody was just going, Finn Balor, Finn Balor. Oh, it's Finn Balor. It's Balor. Hands down, it's Balor. I didn't see one person. Actually, you know what? I did see somebody say, what if the battery belonged to a female? And I wish I could give credit where credit is due. But I do remember one person saying, but he didn't mention Tegan Knox. That was the thing. He did not mention Tegan Knox. But he did say, what if the battery belongs to a female? And it was just quietly dismissed. And I understand that, because a lot of people were kind of going, no, it's Finn Balor, hands down. It's Finn Balor. But yeah, it was Tegan Knox who actually had made her return. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but yeah, NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match. Zoe Stark, Io Shirai taking on the Ways, Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae. New tag team champions that were crowned in Zoe Stark, Io Shirai. I thought for sure this was going to be a retain. I legit thought this was going to be a retain, because when you really take a step back, you're going, well, not for nothing, but, you know, not for nothing, but the way they really haven't been defending those tag titles like that. their title reign is still just starting to heat up. Yeah, sure. You know what the hell? Let's go ahead and let's see these girls retain. This was a very surprising turn right here because look, not for nothing, but when Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell won those NXT Women's Tag Titles, they won them on May 4th. So just think about that for a second. They barely had those titles for they made it 2 months. They had those titles for 2 months. So they went about 61, 62, maybe 63 days or something like that as the tag champions. And then wham, we have them lose them. Yeah, that very odd, very, very odd for me. But at the same time, seeing the team of Io Shirai and Zoe Stark as the new NXT Women's Tag Champs kind of signifies to me that powers that be in the back, they're pretty high on Io and Zoe. And hey, honestly, I'm curious to see where this goes. I am, because originally I was under the impression that either Io or Zoe were gonna turn on each other. I was really under the impression one of those girls was just gonna, and that was gonna be your program. We were gonna be built all around that. So to see it go in this direction, quite surprising. And you know what? Not for nothing, but the way that they had Tegan Nox return, I like the fact that when she returned, you had the battery graphic, 90%, goes to 100, lights go out, they're off for a hot minute. And then when that battery was at 100, I like how it pretty much sent like this green charge light all throughout the arena. Sets up Tegan Nox, and you got Candice LeRae who's looking all shocked and everything. So you can say there was a little bit of a distraction right there as a result of what was going on, and Io and Zoe were pretty much able to take advantage of it. But post-match, Tegan Nox slowly coming down the aisle, then starts beating the holy crap out of Candice. Good shit. Remember, we hadn't seen Tegan in a good minute. I mean, Tegan been out for like a fucking year. Fucking leg injury and all that. So, see these girls pretty much pick up right where they left off. Good shit. Good shit. So, that was very surprising because I was honestly expecting for the Way to retain. Legit. I'm sure many people were as well. Let's see. What else? What else was on this card here tonight? Oh, yeah. William Regal, Samoa Joe, they call out Johnny Gargano, Karrion Kross. And they pretty much let these guys know, hey, what's been going on with you all these past couple of weeks. We're going to squash this. This is going to come to head. We're going to reach the finality of this. You guys are going to be wrestling next week. It's going to be for the NXT Championship. And there's going to be a special enforcer, a special referee. None other than Samoa Joe. And Johnny Gargano is fucking ecstatic about it. He's happy that Samoa Joe is going to be there. And Samoa Joe lets it be known that he's going to call it right down the middle. But if he is provoked in any type of way, well, obviously he's going to do his thing. Remember that, right? Literally, it is the Stone Cold Eric Bischoff era, man. Remember, Stone Cold never got physical with people unless he was provoked. So I love that we're pretty much going down this path and everything. Loving it. I'm fucking loving it. So yeah, next week, that's something huge to look forward to. That match could go either way. If there was one match I'm concerned about right now, that's the one I'm looking at. And the only reason why, you just can't help but kind of feel a little bit influenced by some of the chatter that's out there, and then what you're seeing with your own two eyes as far as Karrion Kross doing these dark matches, main event, SmackDown and all that. And you can't help but wonder, okay, so, is he getting the call up to one of those two flagship shows? Is he getting the call up? Or could it legit be a case where Karrion Kross just does double duty, where he continues to be the NXT champion, but he's also tearing it up on Raw or SmackDown? That latter part would be pretty awesome, right? Maybe pretty badass, but that should be a good match, and I think we kind of got a little bit of a preview as far as things to come, because I have a feeling that Johnny Gargano is going to try to do his best to somehow provoke Samoa Joe in such fashion that Joe will get physical, and it will be to the advantage of Gargano to somehow poke Joe a bit to make him play the game he's trying to have him play, all in ultimately becoming the new NXT champion. And then you're pretty much in a position where you're going, okay, so what exactly does this mean for Joe going forward against Karrion Kross? You feel where I'm coming from? Now look, let's really talk about this. If Karrion Kross is going to be getting the call up a lot sooner rather than later, then one possible exit I see for Karrion Kross from NXT, exactly how I laid it out with Johnny Gargano, and then the very next week on NXT, Samoa Joe arrives and all that, and you could have Johnny Gargano say to Samoa Joe, hey, I just want to say thank you for helping me last week. And Samoa Joe could say, I did not help you. I had a job that I was supposed to do, and you pretty much, you manipulated me. You took control of the situation. I give you props for that, but now the hunt is on and you're the prey. Let's see how you do defending that title, champ. I can see Samoa Joe kind of getting out of that, but I can see a very pissed off Karrion Kross that's trying to do any and everything by all accounts to get his hands on Samoa Joe. I can see Karrion Kross not giving a fuck and getting so physical with Joe, getting so physical with him, choking him out and all that. I could legit see a scenario come about where, he gets suspended. Maybe it's a case where he either gets suspended indefinitely, something along those lines. I could see maybe a scenario like that, and that's maybe how you can, or it could be a case where Kross is suspended indefinitely, but Samoa Joe works his magic and says, nah, I don't want that guy to be suspended indefinitely. I'm fixing for a fight. Look, when it's all said and done, this guy put his hands on me. I need you to reactivate me. Let's go. Put me in a match. I want that guy one-on-one. Let's fucking do this. And we've been getting the teasers for it anyway, right? I don't know if we're at this point going to make it to, what did I say, November? I believe I said October or November is probably at the latest we'll see Samoa Joe wrestle under NXT. I don't know if at this point, if we're even going to hit one of those months. I'm not really sure. Doesn't feel like it. So do you maybe kind of go in that direction with Joe and Kross, and then no matter what happens, a Joe win or a Kross win, do you then maybe send Kross to the main show? So I mean, WWE's in an interesting position right here, but you hear all that chatter that's going on, you just can't help but wonder what exactly is going to happen between Kross and Gargano for that NXT title. But we'll know more next week. That's for sure. But a couple of ideas there. Give you all. Let's see. What else did we get here? On this card? So we talked about the tag match. $1 Million Championship, Cameron Grimes taking on LA Knight. I mean, this was a foregone conclusion. We all knew that LA Knight was going to pick up the dub here, still remain the $1 Million champion. No surprise right here whatsoever. Good, solid match. Really showcasing the hell out of LA Knight's in-ring ability as far as I was concerned. I mean, he really went into this. I got to give both men a lot of props, actually. Both men went into this one and they really rose to the occasion in essentially justifying the camera time that they've been getting these past several weeks. And I gotta tell you, as far as my sleeper hit match of the week, you know, one that I looked at on paper and said, oh, yeah, it should be good, but left me going, whoa, that was actually pretty damn solid. I actually got to give it up to LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. They told a pretty solid story in that one. End result, definitely expected as far as Butler Grimes. So I can't wait to see the comedic relief that's going to be happening in the weeks to come. Should be some good shit. Let's see what else. Oh, we get the NXT Breakout Tournament competitor reveal. Your guys are Trey Baxter, Carmelo Hayes, Andre Chase, Josh Briggs, Ekman Hero, Joe Gacy, Odyssey Jones, and Duke Hudson. Tournament begins next week with Hero taking on Hudson. Now, I know some of you guys may not be familiar with some of these names, and you may ask me, Lee, who do you think the dark horse is going to be? Who do you think is going to be going into the finals? I'll have more information for you guys by Monday's RCWR show. Next Monday's RCWR show, which is going to be dropping on the 12th of July. I'll have more information. I'll have my bracket and all that filled out for you guys. We'll talk about it then. Because, I mean, if we did that here, right, I mean, that would just, we'd go several extended minutes, and I don't want to do that to you guys. Let's see. What else we got? See, Toni Storm was backstage. She's not happy about the fact that she's not getting a title shot anytime soon. As far as she's concerned, Raquel Gonzalez fears her. And, you know, when asked about Saray's challenge from last week, she says it's cute and Saray may want to match with her, but she's not on Tony's level and says no. Remember, Saray had popped up in William Regal's office last week. And look, the last thing I'm going to do is do a Japanese voice, because I am not trying to look. I saw what happened to who's that AEW Spanish commentator, Willie Urbana. Last thing I'm gonna do is that, but pretty much Saray went into William Regal's office last week. Hey, William Regal, me Lee, I want a match next week. Maybe match Pretty Please, match Toni Storm, maybe, please. That'd be good. I mean, that's literally what Saray had did. Yeah, so it is what it is with that one. So I personally don't give a flying you know what about. Yeah, so that's just me. Look, I get guys that find Toni Storm attractive, and I do think she's a very attractive woman, but besides being an attractive woman, having a nice derriere, I mean, I don't see why fans like this woman, because personality wise, there's nothing she offers. There's nothing I can latch on to. At least I can pick up something with Mandy, Dana Brooke. There's nothing with Toni Storm. Very flat as far as I'm concerned. Convince me otherwise. Favorite highlight of the night for me, Hit Row. That Hit Row rap segment. Oh, man, I love that. I know some people, you know, oh, that went way too long. And look, if you're a fan of all things hip hop and rap, then you know what? You enjoyed the fuck out of that segment. Okay? Because people that were looking at this particular segment and they were, oh man, kind of boring. Oh, way too long. I tell you what, I need that same goddamn energy when Poppy comes out and doing her set. all the other little people that they fucking get. I need that same energy. Because I think what honestly this comes down to, you got some people that are basically going, rap is crap. I hate rap. That's literally what's going on with some people that were bashing this. But again, if you are a fan of all things hip hop, rap, this was up your alley. You fucked with this shit. I mean, man, I was having flashbacks to that 420 special I had watched recently of Method Man and Redman. Oh man, that was fucking solid. That was a great fucking 3+ hours, man. I mean, I felt like I was listening to A Tribe Called Quest, Naughty by Nature, who else? Arrested Development, all these, man, they got a nice old school ass vibe to them, but they got the new flavor going on to them as well. And man, when my man fucking Isaiah Swerve Scott came up to that mic and he just started spitting that shit out, man, I'm going, man, give me dude's next album. Seriously, give me dude's next album. Hey, WWE, here's an idea. I don't know where John Cena's rap game is in 2021, but give me a rap album with John Cena and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Put it under the WWE umbrella. That shit gonna sell like hotcakes. Promise you that. That's gonna sell like hotcakes. See, what else we got here? Great freestyle. That was some solid ass freestyling. I love that shit. So one more time, next week for NXT Championship match, Karrion Kross taking on Johnny Gargano, NXT Championship. And then you got the NXT Breakout Tournament match, Duke Hudson taking on Akman Hero. Adam Cole taking on Kyle O'Reilly, main event. Good work as always from both men. Talk about giving more than enough time. These guys went almost a half hour. So, I mean, they were able to go in there and really, really tell their fucking story. Cole getting the dub, I don't have a problem with, because he took the defeat in their other encounter. So I'm actually okay with the way this match was booked. And not for nothing, O'Reilly, as far as I was concerned, he wasn't hurt in this match by any means. I mean, he looked pretty damn strong going up against Adam Cole here. So him losing to Adam Cole, no problem with it whatsoever. Solid way to end the special Great American Bash edition of NXT. I just can't help but wonder, okay, what's next? Seriously, what's next for Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly? Because now that Adam Cole has the dub here, Adam Cole's probably on cloud 9, and okay, so is that it? And definitively, I feel that's not it. These two guys are going to continue to go at each other. If there was ever one match to look at in NXT that screams, oh, this is going to be a loser leaves town, this is going to be loser leaves NXT, I just feel that Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, I just feel like that match, that's going to be the one. Because you're just following the storyline. How can these two men continue to exist under the same umbrella? Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say that Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, they're not interested in going up to the main roster. We know Tommaso Ciampa doesn't want to, and respectfully so. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, they don't want to go to Raw or SmackDown. How can you continue to have them stay in NXT? Well, I think it's simple. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think we're going to be getting a loser leaves. I think, honestly, what could ultimately happen, Cole and O'Reilly will go at it again, but in the process of all of this, I just feel that Roderick Strong and his little Diamond Mine stable, if there was ever a time to really make a name for yourself, and you notice that Diamond Mine has yet to cross paths there with O'Reilly and Cole. You notice that, and I think that's by design. I don't think that's a happy coincidence. So I kind of feel like eventually there's going to be something going on there, and O'Reilly, Cole, gonna have to put their differences to the side, and they're gonna have to. But then it becomes, okay, so who's gonna make up the new UE? Obviously you're gonna do the UE again, so who's gonna be the UE? Or are you just gonna pretty much go DX style, and it's just gonna be two guys? Something to think about. But I feel that all roads seem to lead to Diamond Mine, Cole, and O'Reilly clashing eventually, a lot sooner than later, honestly. Overall, though, this episode, pretty good. Pretty good episode. I don't care what anybody says about Hit Row and their segment. Good shit. Good fucking shit. Let's see, what else? Opening match, pretty damn solid. Main event match, pretty damn solid. Grimes, Knight, taking their feud to that next level. Good overall, solid show. Now, if I were to compare this to the Road Rager edition of AEW for this week, I gotta go with NXT. I think NXT had the better show this week, the better themed event show for this week. I gotta give it up to them. Now, NXT in their ratings, because it doesn't look like no numbers are available yet. Remember I said 854,000 for AEW? And let me actually write that down. 854 for AEW. For NXT, I am going to say... For NXT, I'm going to say 713,000. 713,000 for NXT. So, stay connected on the social media feeds, because I'll post those numbers once the show is over, my predictions. And then once the official numbers come out, I'll definitely follow up and give you guys the skinny on that. All right. Let's see. One last thing we can get into, because I mean it's kind of relatively quiet headline wise. I mean, one thing, XFL, it looks as though the XFL is possibly being pushed back to 2023. And there is an official XFLW statement. They said, while our discussions with the CFL did not ultimately lead to a collaboration, the effort reinforced our belief and commitment to developing the XFL for international spring football. We look forward to seeing everyone for kickoff in spring of 2023. So, hey, look, I had nothing but positive things to say about the XFL. I watched every single game. I was a fucking fanatic when the XFL came out. I was almost as an NFL fanatic as I am on the Sundays and Thursdays when the NFL is on. I watched all the games, and I thought they were off to a damn good start. It was so hilarious too, because I remember when the XFL came back, and I was giving it praise. I was talking about it. You had those that were going on social media, being sarcastic, taking jabs at it. And I remember asking some of these people, because they were actually adding me and everything, responding to what I was saying. I'm like, are you even watching the game? Because the game is actually pretty good. And, these were just people that just got their jollies off just trolling. But it was kind of funny seeing these same people that were bashing Yet they also, okay, I got to see what everybody is talking about here. Oh, wow, yeah, it is good. And then all of a sudden, right? But yeah, it was kind of funny seeing some of the people that were reacting the way they were reacting the last go round. But they did an exceptionally good job. And now that Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his people are pretty much behind it, I got nothing but positivity that it's gonna succeed, and I just don't feel it's gonna be going away. Usually if Dwayne Johnson is behind something, it's long lasting. So I can't wait to see what he's gonna be able to do. And the fact that they're gonna be doing this in 2023, got no problem with that. Yeah, let's get a whole year plus past where we are right now with the pandemic, and yeah, I'm totally down with that. We got numbers for WWE's Holiday Edition episode of Raw. Monday's show brought in a 0.41 rating in the 18 to 49 demo and 1.472 million viewers overall. So, kind of break that down. Those numbers are dead even and down 6.2% respectfully from last week's 0.41 demo rating and audience of 1.57 million. So it's being said that the audience is the lowest overall for the show to date, but you know what? You can tell me, oh, not since December. Look, Raw has had this notorious history coming off of the 4th of July weekend. It's had that notorious history of, well, not for nothing, but, not everybody is thinking wrestling on a Monday night, even though it's coming on as late as it is. Nobody's really, what? To be able to get in over 1 million viewers coming off of a 4th of July holiday, that's still pretty damn good. And honestly, I thought for the final Raw Thunderdome, there was a lot of pluses for that respected episode. So, I mean, that's just me, but to each its own. Look, you don't need a Patreon membership for a dirt sheet to tell you that there are a boatload of people inside WWE that are extremely pissed off at Jimmy Uso for this latest arrest. I don't need to be long-winded about this. I've heard a few people say some things already about Jimmy Uso and all of that, but I tried to tune it out because I didn't want to be influenced in any type of way. So I heard like maybe a few seconds here and there of some of what my friends and colleagues in the podcasting world had to say. But this one, when it's all said and done, it definitely connects to me on a personal level because of this battle this young man is having with alcoholism. And it definitely hits close to home for me because one of my parents, besides suffering from drug substance abuse, I also watched them abuse the hell out of alcohol. And it was sad because it was basically, what they did was they traded one bad vice for another. I mean, that's essentially what they did. So, Jimmy Uso, what is this now? His fourth arrest or whatever? I mean, you just lose fucking track. But when you go over the timeline, you got the first arrest and charged with DUI going back September of 2011. You've got, and all of these joints, a couple of them were in Florida. You got one in Detroit, Michigan, another one in Florida, latest one, if I'm not mistaken, in fucking Florida. So, I mean, you just got this fucking history just over and over and over again. But, the first arrest and charge, September 2011. Then charge in second DUI, 2013. Did okay for a couple of years there. Fast forward to 2019, Valentine's Day of all the days. Arrested for DUI. Yeah, and he was squaring up to a police officer acting as if He wanted to fight that police officer. Not a smart move considering where at that point in our culture we were, police brutality and social injustice, and we were always, even at that point, we were talking about police reform, and come on, man. So you got that. Then another arrest for a DUI later that year. So we go from February 14th of 2019, then we go to July 25th of 2019, arrested for DUI. Lord have mercy. And now we got this latest one, arrested for DUI, driving with a blood alcohol level of, and you can't make this shit up, you can't, 205. 205. The field day everybody's having with that one. I'm going to go the high route here. I'm going to go the high route here. But anyway, so this latest DUI related arrest looks like it came about in Pensacola, Florida, where Jimmy Uso's blood alcohol content level was reportedly as high as 205. The legal limit in Florida is 0.8. 0.08, and he was at a 0.205. Officers noted Uso was noticeably swaying and admitted drinking multiple beers prior to driving. Yeah. And meanwhile, he's got this major story arc that's going on with Roman Reigns, being Roman Reigns' right-hand man and all that. Great feud that he had going on there with Roman, what he did at Hell in a Cell, all that great shit that was going on. And now you obviously have burned that to the ground. When is enough enough? Seriously, when is enough enough? When do you go on ahead and just say, okay, you know what? You've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and you just keep blowing these chances that we're giving you. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. I really am. What I don't understand, let me be real. Let me be very candid. What I don't understand, you essentially had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days. And if you weren't doing anything with the WWE prior to those 4 days, my God, you had yourself a nice, long, extended week / vacation, so to speak. But you had all the time in the world to get in your shits and giggles, get your eat on, get your drink on, have your fun, your cake, eat it too, all that. I just don't understand in this day and age, 2021, with all the advancement that we've been able to do with technology. If you're going to drink, no reason to drive. As simple as that. No reason to drive. You have a friend who is sober, drive you, or you take a Uber, you take a Lyft, you take a taxi, you go to a fucking nearby hotel. If the weather is nice and cool, sleep in your car. Don't need to run the AC in your fucking car. That's just stupid. You're gonna fuck your battery up doing stupid shit like that. So just roll a window down just enough. Hopefully you're in a nice, well-lit, busy area. Hell, have a friend, take you to the nearest police precinct and say, hey, this person is drunk, a little bit notorious for getting behind the wheel, after drinking, any way we can have them park in front of your headquarters so they can sleep it off, and in the morning they can be about their way. I mean, there's so many precautions. I'm sure the police would be like, yeah, no problem. If it means that, or hell, they probably say, you know what, well, we can actually, put you in a cell, let you sleep it off. You're not arrested or anything, no charges. We can let you sleep it off. And, I'm sure either way, cops would have understood. They would have been all right with it. So you got all of these options when it's all said and done. And yet, this nasty pattern, we just keep doing this over and over and over again. And you just can't help but get to a point where you say, when is enough enough? When do I start showing tough love towards this person? I want nothing but the very best for them, but at the same time, they're continuing to damage themselves. They're continuing to damage their career. And when it's all said and done, it's just a big old pool of negativity that they just need to keep to themselves. We don't want no part of it. All right, so we got to draw the line in the sand here. And the fact that most of these incidents were going on in Florida, I can't help but question some of these police officers that most likely knew that Jimmy Uso was, some type of a WWE superstar or whatever. And, maybe they felt kind of bad for the guy and, wanted to cut him a break, wanted to seem like, whatever. By the way, to hear that he got out on, what was it, $500 bond? After all that bullshit that was going on, to hear that he got away, pretty much with another slap on the wrist. By now, his license in Florida, it should have been taken away. You got that many occurrences that's happening while you're a resident in Florida. Your license should just be taken away from you, straight up. I'm very surprised that by now, a condition to him driving leading up to now, I'm very surprised that a condition from the judge wasn't, okay, we're going to put a breathalyzer machine in your vehicle. And if you are, you got a BAC of that vehicle ain't going to operate. And yet we got somehow up to now. If you're WWE, you got to look at this and you got to say, okay, when is enough enough? Hey, look, we appreciate this family, this Anoa'i family. We love them. We appreciate them. We know what they are about. But is it really, really worth it? We got Roman. We got Tamina. We got Jay. Is it really worth it? Oh, we got the Rock's daughter. Is it really worth? I hate to, me, I don't like saying this person needs to be fired. I don't like saying that. But one thing that I have said, which is true, is that people get themselves fired. And in this particular case, you can make an argument that with the latest actions that Jimmy Uso did, he's definitely gotten himself fired. It's a fireable offense. If you're WWE, this could go into respectful directions. You could either say, look, if you want to remain employed with us, these are the conditions that you have to meet. Number one, you can no longer drive. As long as you are a WWE employee, you can no longer drive. Somebody else is going to need to drive for you. If you can't agree to those terms, then hey, you're out of here. If we find out you were behind the wheel, even if you were driving from your hotel to the gym, which is a 2-minute drive, or you were going to 7-Eleven because you wanted a big bite, you're fired. Another condition of remaining with WWE, he's got to continue to do ongoing therapy. He's got to do, Alcohol Anonymous, therapy. He's got to continue to do that. That needs to be an ongoing term if he wants to remain in WWE. You don't just go in there for the 3 months, the 6 months, get your fucking certificate, and then you're good. No, that's not how we're doing it. That's not how we're doing it. He's shown too many times that at this point he can't be trusted. So if you're WWE and you really care about this guy and you want nothing but the very best, and the last thing you want to do is kick this guy to the curb, is that the type of tough love that you show this man in hopes that he can turn things around and really do it for the better? That's just some of the conditions I think that WWE is going to have to come at him, how they need to come at him. And to those that are continuing to enable in some fashion this behavior, it has to stop. It has to stop. What if Jimmy Uso would have been behind the vehicle for any one of these incidents past the first DUI? What if he was behind the vehicle, incident 2 on, and he hit a pedestrian? He hit a bicyclist. He was in an auto wreck that took the life of somebody, permanently injured somebody, put him in a wheelchair, whatever. Then what? Then what do you do? If you're WWE, you got to ask yourself, okay, is that the risk that we're willing to take, all in the name of success and who this man is, the family that he represents, the people that he and risk possibly alienating the others that are in WWE? When is enough enough? And you say, nah, you know what? Fuck this. And I'll tell you something. That Nick Khan been doing one hell of a job in WWE so far. You see how he has been consolidating the hell out of multiple wings in the WWE. I mean, he's going in there. He is the cleaner right now. He's going in there and he's saying, nah, we don't need to have this going on over here and this happening over here and this happening over here. What the hell? Let's embrace the new technology that we got that's running around. Hell, no. Let's just condense all of this. All right? Okay, we only need 4 people to be able to do blah, 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 blah. Why do we have 25 people? No. We only need, no. Let's trim that fat. Right? So you got Nick Khan that's going in there. And he's trimming things from that standpoint. He's also looking at some of these wrestlers. Okay, we got this company and we got 300, 400, 500 fucking wrestlers on the back. Why? Right? So I would not be surprised to hear in the coming days from reputable sites if Nick Khan has tried speaking to some high ups, including Paul Levesque, about, hey, look, we really need to try to get away from this situation with Jimmy Uso. We need to cut ties. Don't be too surprised if in the coming days you might hear something along the lines of Nick Khan was trying, but maybe he got denied or whatever. Don't be too surprised if you hear something along those lines. But, me personally, I'd be like, dude, we can't keep having this. We can't. We've given you opportunity after opportunity. Look at the most recent opportunity that we gave you. You know what it reminds me a lot of? And I got the picture hanging up on my wall. But it reminds me, and he autographed it too. It reminds me a lot of RVD when he became the WWE champion and the ECW champion. Remember that? My God, what a great fucking, wow. Awesome. And then he loses those titles in the same week because of that fucking weed offense. It reminds me a lot of the whole RVD situation. It also reminds me a lot. Here's another one too, and I'm sure mostly everybody's kind of thinking the same thing with regards to RVD. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of people that were kind of linking Jimmy Uso to the RVD situation, but I wonder how many people are also linking this next name to the situation. It also reminds me of the William Regal Raw General Manager storyline. Do you guys remember that? William Regal was at his truest pinnacle as an on-screen character when it came to being the Raw General Manager. And man, the way that they had that set up was fucking epic. When I look back on some of my favorite moments of WWE Raw programming, that for me, that era is at the very top. And his shit came to a screeching halt because the demons got the best of him yet again. And so, yeah, I also see that when I look at what's going on with Jimmy Uso. And it's damn fucking sad. It's damn fucking sad, and it's fucking depressing what's going on with him. But, you know, if you're WWE, you're taking into account some of those points that I brought up, and you're saying, you know what? It's not worth the risk. We gotta cut ties. We just got to, because heaven forbid this man costs somebody their life or their physical livelihood, and then we're gonna be at the receiving end of all the negative publicity. That fucking lawyer, I can't remember his name right now. I think Kairos Constantine, that lawyer that's always trying to have people join his little lawsuit, concussion lawsuit or whatever. Could you just imagine if an accident were to go down, Jimmy Uso severely injures or takes the life of somebody? Could you just imagine that fucking lawyer getting in contact with the family? Oh, yeah, we can get you money for sure. You know, not only can we sue the state of, insert the name, especially if it's Florida. If the next incident is in Florida and the odds are that high. But then on top of that, oh yeah, we can also put WWE on the list because they did little to jack shit to try to curb stomp this. And they may, you know, they'll either win or they'll settle it out of court. They being WWE. So I just feel at this point, you just go ahead, save any future embarrassment, any scrutiny, any black guy from a publicity standpoint, and just cut ties with the man. Not worth it. Sometimes you just got to show that type of tough love. You just do. I mean, we need to be consistent here. We really, really do, because there's other superstars that we can think of that were under the WWE umbrella, and pretty much they were cut automatically. We know why Jimmy Uso hasn't been cut automatically. It's all about that name, that last name of his. And I ain't talking about Uso. It's because of that last name of his and who all he's connected to family-wise. But at some point, you just got to say, look, you know, it's no different. You got to apply the same logic to the real world. Hey, Sam. Oh, man, you're great. Love having you work for us. Love having your wife working here for us, your daughter. But hey, man, your son, it just ain't working out. Your son's doing no call, no shows. Your son's being disrespectful to management. You know, your son is getting into arguments with customers. You know, we can't have all of that. We gotta let him go. So what, you trying to tell me the rest of them family members are pretty much gonna, I mean, if they're gonna quit, that's on them. Then that's on them. But you can't keep embracing and tolerating this bad behavior. You just can't. I don't give a fuck what was going on with. There's no excuse when you got all these Ubers and Lyfts and all of that that's running around these days. There's just no excuse. Let me tell you something. Putting a pretty little ribbon around this. One of the most difficult decisions I had to do in my personal life was to say to my parent, mentally, but eventually verbally, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You're a fucking alcoholic. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I watched my own parent go from drug abuse, get cleaned up, hadn't taken drugs since, but picked up a new nasty habit, which was drinking alcohol. And I mean, it wasn't just one of those, oh, I'm just going to have a can of beer. No, I mean, we're talking get shit-faced drunk. I'm talking about the type of drunk where you go to the bathroom the next day or whatever, and there's piss and shit all over the toilet seat, all on the floor, and you're trying to save that parent the embarrassment of what they did the night before. You're trying to save them the embarrassment of seeing what they did all around the house. You're cleaning it up, and you're not saying anything because you don't want to. You mean no harm. You don't want to embarrass them. It's embarrassing enough as it is, what they had went through. And then to experience some days where that drunk parent was physically being abusive to me. I got to a point, and I got to a point where it was like, yeah, fuck this. Like, fuck this. I hurried up. I did what I needed to do. I got my place. This is when I was young. This was like when I was in my early 20s. Like probably like under, it was like 21, 22 is when all of this shit had went down. I made a vow to myself right then and there. I said, never again. I'm not gonna put myself in this position. It was the toughest thing that I had to do because I could see the instances, and I'm sure like with WWE, the great qualities, the instances that they can see with Jimmy Uso. Like with my parent, I saw the moments of, hey, they're pretty cool, but it's like, is it really enough to stomach and tolerate? Is it really worth enduring all that negative shit just to get those few seconds of, is it really worth it? That's what so sometimes you gotta show tough love, and you gotta just, nah. Long as you fucking with that, don't want to have anything to do with you. And that's how WWE needs to be to Jimmy Uso right now. This is going to be a defining moment for them. It really, really is. It's going to be a defining moment for them, because if they continue to go down this path with him, they leave themselves wide open for, you could almost see shades. I hate to bring this name up, but everything that's been going on with him, I mean, you almost see shades there. And Reed Flair. You really take a step back and you think about it. You also see shades of Reed Flair. And how cops are just kind of looking the other way, essentially just giving a little slap on the wrist and shit. It's fucking sad. Seriously, it's fucking sad. But wishing nothing but the best for that guy. I know everybody's having a field day making their jokes on this man and everything, and I mean, I get it, especially with the whole .205. I get that. I like a joke as much as the next person. I really, really do. But there's a time where you really got to be serious, and you just got to be like, holy fuck, like, the fuck are we going to do with this person? So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. But I'm pulling for the brother. I really hope that he's able to just, I don't need, what I need this brother to do right now. I need him to get away from the whole, it was just a couple of beers. Well, I've been so good though. I haven't had a last occurrence since, blah. The mentality, I need for him to have right now is, okay, you know what? Every single time, and this is how you got to do it sometimes. This is how you have to do it sometimes. Man, every single time I get around this particular person, or I get around this particular thing, nothing but negativity comes from it. Nothing but a whole lot of hurt comes from it. Every time I get around this, I always get in trouble. You got to start thinking like that and then just say to yourself, is it really worth it? Do you really want to take that chance? And you got to separate yourself from all of those things. I tell you guys constantly, if it ain't of positivity, I don't want nothing to do with it. And that's the kind of mindset that Jimmy Uso needs to have for himself right now. So I'm continuing to pull for the brother. I'm hoping that it ends here. We'll see. I don't know which is worse, the shit that keeps going on with Sonny or the shit that keeps going on with Jimmy Uso. And now, if you were to do a Fox Bets or whatever the fuck, I'm interested to know what the pool would be. Who's going to end up dead first? Jimmy Uso or Sonny? I wonder what that pool would look like. Maybe we should create a poll inspired off some of these events that we talked about tonight. Maybe we should create a poll and find out, just based on everything, where you guys are right now. Who you got clocking out first? I'm very curious where you guys would be on the results for that one. But yeah. So other than that, that is pretty much it. So we did about 2 hours, almost 30 minutes of a show, give or take. A little bit over 2 hours, 30 minutes. So I'm going to say this show is DONE done. For those of you that tuned in live, I do appreciate you guys, as always, that tuned in live. But major shout out to those that go about checking out the show on demand and definitely on the downloads. Much love as always. By the way, for those of you that are interested, from time to time, I know we put the poll out there and, you guys said what you said about the phone lines. But for those of you that maybe in the near future, you would like the ability to, come on board in the show, have a question or two. I'm going to see, that's the thing. I don't really go as heavy as I do with promoting like that, but I'm definitely going to try to step it up in the coming weeks and all that, especially now that we got Awesome Con that's right around the corner. But we're definitely going to be stepping it up a lot more with the engagement and all of that good stuff. So I'll just tease you guys with that for now. Next show will not be until... Well, for our Patreon members, we got your hookup. We're going to be doing a special deluxe edition of 30 with Lee covering the Marvel Loki series. So check that out. Also, there is a new Wrestling with the Topics that's available right now from me and the missus. By the way, shout out to our Patreon members. Love you guys as always. Appreciate y'all. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Other than Patreon content, your next free-for-all edition of the RCWR show, that's going to be dropping on Monday, July 12th. We'll be coming on after Raw goes off the air, so tune in for that. Should be good. And in the meantime, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed, available on demand and on the downloads. For you podcast lovers, we're available wherever you get your podcasts. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And one more time, if you haven't done so already, you've made it up to this point, kindly please hit that like. Feel free to subscribe, share, join our over 11,800 subscribers. That's part of our YouTube community. I mean, when you add up all our social media platforms, I mean, we got like over, when you add them all up, we got like over 25,000 followers, basically, when you add up all our social media platforms. So, I mean, we're not just, we don't just YouTube. I mean, we're pretty much all over the place, but definitely, you guys that checking out the web stream, make sure you hit that like, because we want to try to see if we can have that YouTube channel get to 12,000 subscribers before the calendar year is out. So hit that like, hit that like. Good shit means a lot. All right, so that is going to do it. I'm wishing all of you guys to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I don't think we're going to be doing another show, a free-for-all show, so this is pretty much it. So I'm going to wish you guys to have a fantastic rest of your week. Have a pretty solid weekend. And yeah, get at us on social media, all right? We're going to have some more announcements coming pretty soon, especially in regards to AwesomeCon. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to it. Meantime,